everyone, this is Denise at Something Beautiful Handcrafts, and this is episode 2 of American Girl Historical Doll Clothing. Okay, so these videos are going to be out of sync because I started the 2 videos to show the 2 outfits I had already made, and then I kind of changed directions with how I was going to do this. So just keep that in mind when you get to the video for the Regency outfit, which will be a while to come. Okay, at any rate, the basic first garment that I'm making for all of the dolls that arrive here is the shift, also called the chemise later down the line. And basically the shift was the basic female undergarment for a very long time, and now undergarment, and pretty much it's a long gown. It's changed over the centuries and decades based on the shape of the collar, sometimes the length, the arms. It just kind of depends, but it's basically what you see here. So I think I mentioned before in the other video that for the most part, women had no other undergarment other than just the shift. That's it. Panties, bloomers, all the stuff as we know it and think about it wasn't really common. And I was watching a video and they were saying about it, even in the 1830s, that drawers or pantaloons or things like that still weren't commonly worn. I know by the time of the Civil War era they were. So just kind of keep that in your thoughts. So when people ask reenacting women with all those layers, how do you go to the bathroom? Well, if you're dressed historically, you're not wearing underwear, modern underwear that require you to, do what you need to do. No shifting of clothing needs to happen. You just kind of lift up and do what has to be done. Or you've got split drawers on, it works the same way. Okay, like you need to know that. Now, these 3 ladies, let me put a kit over here, have on 3 different types of shifts. Kit has on the shift from the 40s chemise, or as we would call it, a slip, basically. Then this looks pretty reminiscent to me of modern slips. For the most part, it's there. I've worn slips all my life. This kind of looks like one of my childhood slips. Okay, so this is for Molly. This is from the American Girl Patterns for Molly. And it is the quick shift that I made for, all the other girls after Felicity. It's real quick and easy to make. Okay, now what you're seeing on these other 2 dolls, first, let's introduce this one first. This is the Civil War era slip that comes from the Thimbles and Acorns Victorian Unmentionables pattern, I believe is what it's called. And so I'm going to show you the pieces to that pattern. I'm not going to show you any pattern because, of course, I don't want to violate anybody's copyright. But I'm going to show you the pieces. So we have the slip here. This right here is Medicine. She is my off-brand 18-inch doll. And really quickly off camera, I'm going to put this corset on because it's much easier to put the corset on off camera because the camera is directly in front of me and I don't want to bump it. I'm gonna front hooks. And for the most part, unless it is something that is not feasible for the 18-inch doll or the shape of the doll, these construction of these garments is relatively historically accurate. So I am learning quite a bit from this. Okay, so I spiral laced her, which pretty much is a loop lace all the way down to the bottom. I've read that the bottom were sometimes left open, the bottom 2 eyelets. I left them open in this case because I just don't need to cinch her that much. You're going to have to forgive the blue string. I could not find the appropriate string. I have it now, so I'm going to relace it later. And just give that a pull. Okay, bam. And then these would be tucked in. Okay. Okay, so that's pretty much how she looks in this corset. Let me turn her around. Straighten her out. Pull the chemise down to where it's going to be needed to be at the neckline. I am making unmentionables for everyone. Felicity and anything in that 1700s, early 1800s needs to have a different corset pattern. I may or may not buy that other corset pattern, but I have this one, so this is what everybody's going to get. So the corset for the earlier years is not going to be very accurate. This is a Victorian corset. And with a little modification, I probably could take it down into the Edwardian period, but this is going to be my corset. All right, now I'm going to put on her split bloomers. Let me show you those. The split drawers, and they are exactly what you think they are. They're split there. Okay. I'm working on the hem back here. I hand did it. I'm going to run it through the machine. I've got a hook in the back of here. And those just go on as you imagine that they would. I don't know if you've ever watched those dressing videos from Crow's Eye Production or any of the other historical reenactors who do those dressing scenes. Prior Tire is one that comes to mind, where she just does a lot of dressing scenes. So I watch a lot of that, and it's really helping me make the historical doll clothing, which is in turn really helping me understand the historical people clothing. Just going to get her adjusted. So the poor thing doesn't look all sideways. Okay, so here we go. Okay, over top of that, she's going to put her crinoline. Which is relatively stiff. Well, I'm thinking I probably should have put the petticoat on first and then the crinoline underneath it. It's a little better on the doll, but when you see the actual videos of the ladies doing it, you'll see that putting things on in a particular order is pretty important. This ties in the back, and in my case, I mean, you could stiffen crinoline with all kind of things. You could just stiffen crinoline by patting it. You could use wood, all kind of steel. In this case, I have a zip tie in this one. And since I didn't have these zip ties large enough for the bottom, I used a thin metal. I didn't have a metal thick enough, which is why I started out with the zip tie. So I'm probably going to, this is okay. I might just turn them both into the metal. All right, now I'm going to get this petticoat on. And sometimes women wore many, many petticoats before the steel hoop cage. I mean, they could wear 4, 5, 6 petticoats to get the shape. In this case, she's only going to wear the one. And because I put her crinoline on first, I need to put her petticoat over top of her head. So I will keep that in mind for next time. It helps. And in previous centuries and decades, these things were put together, held together with ties, and in the later decades, they're put together with hooks, eyes, and snaps, which is what I'm doing. Okay, so this is her complete set of undergarments. And pretty much their kit can wear this, and I bet you Josefina can wear this. Felicity's a little bigger, so I will need to make a second set for the bigger Felicity doll. And everybody should be here by the end of this week, so I'll have measurements and I'll know how many sets of these I have to make. Okay, so at any rate, let's put her over here so you can see her. Talk about Felicity's real quick. Felicity's shift comes from the American Girl doll Felicity patterns. It's her shift. That's her doll. And I think it's okay for me to show you the pattern. You know what? I have seen people selling these patterns on eBay. Usually they're selling you the actual tissue pattern from, way back when. But I've seen people selling these on Etsy. And I just want to put it out there that if you are looking for the American Girl doll patterns, don't buy them off of Etsy. Okay, so here's the deal. Somebody some time ago, I can't say if legally or not legally, I don't really know. Hey, here's our pocket. They posted the American Girl doll patterns with as a PDF on a website. So it's very possible for you to go on this website and get the PDF patterns for free. So don't buy them off of Etsy. For the most part, the person who is selling them on Etsy, or the people who are selling on Etsy, if they're selling you a digital copy, they don't actually own the rights to that pattern to sell them to you. So if you're going to get them from somebody who doesn't have the rights to sell them, get them for free. Download them for free as a PDF. So at any rate, here we go. Now, her original shift was an extra inch larger. And, she's wearing the original shift. What I found is that some of the patterns will not allow for the slip, the thickness of the slip underneath the pattern. So I had some options. You notice how I like saying that. The first option was to not use her shift. But it's an 18th century shift, and I have a pattern for it already, so I want to use it. My second option was to completely get rid of the sleeves. And Addy is wearing the same shift with no sleeves. And that's not historically inaccurate because I checked. And there were variations based on how comfortable someone was, what they were wearing, as opposed, the sleeve length. And some of them were sleeveless. So this is perfectly okay. My third option, which is what I chose for the Addy one also, is I've reduced the size of the amount of fabric. So we don't have all this extra gathering fabric because on different outfits, we don't really have room for that. Okay. I could buy for this one, it's made for Victorian clothing. It's made for those sleeves. So we're okay. But for the in-between eras and for the Edwardian era, you know what? It still might work for the Edwardian era. It kind of depends. But I'm going to have some complications with the sleeves and the extra fabric. So I just narrowed this pattern. Not a big deal. And I put the sleeves on. Sometimes I don't put them on. Okay, so basically that's it for the shift. Shifts are not hard things to make. There is a YouTuber. Oh, I wish I could remember her name. Let me see real quick. Oh. Sorry about that. Hit the camera on the way up. Her name is the Tailorette. and she shows you how to take measurements to make a basic shift. And for the most part, all you're really changing is the neckline for the uh, eras where the neckline is very square and opens up, like the Regency and the 1700s and the Regency period. You're going to need a shift or chemise. Oh, there goes Felicity. You're going to need a shift or chemise that will accommodate that. Okay, that position. So basically, once you do that, you're fine. Alrighty, that is it for the shift. Like I said, for me, I'm trying to be as historically accurate as possible. So putting the undergarments on the dolls is very important to me. I'm still working on socks. I am making socks. I'm going to make some of these socks clocked. I just haven't decided what I'm going to put on them yet. And I think that'll be really cool to have clocked socks and garters. All right, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and stick those down in the comment section. Thank all my subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and click that and highlight the notification buttons. And hopefully I'll see you soon.